Hey there, this is Lara with Esports, and today I'm joined by G2's head coach, GrabbZ. We're going to be looking at the banger matches that we're going to be seeing this weekend in the LEC Spring Split. To start things off, Mad is going straight to the finals now, which means you're going to be facing Rogue before that, which I think wasn't really what we expected. With G2 not going to be in the finals with Fnatic is already something that's weird enough. How do you feel about not going for the usual?
I mean, for us, it's the usual going through the lower bracket, right? That's something new.
Good point.
We've been there before, and we were joking about the entire lower bracket buff since 3 weeks ago. I mean, nobody actually wanted to lose, but usually that lights a fire up our butts, and we improve. So hopefully this time around is the same. For Fnatic, I mean, it was like a writing on the horizon, right? It's nothing surprising, I feel like. They barely made playoffs. Team cohesion seems to be lacking in a way that they don't agree on how to play the game, it feels like. So if they don't play a comp where everybody can join every fight, they struggle. So I'm really not surprised. And of course, for the fans, it's going to be different, right? The casters can't say the new kings, old kings narrative anymore. So there's something new. But I'm really happy for Matt and Rogue, who have built something up in the since last year, basically, establishing themselves as the top 3 teams in Europe with us. Well deserved as well. Takes a lot of work and good coaching and good infrastructure. So seeing these 2 teams who invested a lot in the newer generation being in this place makes me happy, because that just shows other orgs as well that having a year of build up with rookies can pay off.
Right.
What do you think that this shift in the league, in terms of standings, in terms of how teams are playing, means to the LEC?
Yeah, I think again, better focus on rookies. I think just patience for them is also really important. That we give them the time to grow and not panic after half a year, sort them out for any veteran that didn't get picked up. If you think about it, even Ayoya is a rookie, and I said in a different interview as well that when I think about him, he doesn't play like a rookie, so he's not a rookie in my head. He's so advanced that it makes me really hopeful for just the whole infrastructure in Europe, and just that the old get any mediocre washed up player, make five men of it, teams won't work anymore. Just teams have to risk something, and it's easy to say from G2's perspective, right? Because we have the 5 best veterans probably. So I don't want to sound like I'm talking here from my high horse and looking down on anybody, but that's just how it should be in sports, right? If you can't have access to the established best players, then take a chance, get rookies, and trust the coaching staff. This is what Rogue and Matt did, and it's wonderful. And I think it's going to stay the same. I don't see why Rogue or Matt will drop off. I don't see that in the future Fnatic will come back with this roster. I don't think so, because I think there's just too much inherent disagreement on how the game should be played. Schalke is still a question mark for me. Sometimes they play really well, and sometimes they just forget how League works, I think. And they clown it down. So that's a question mark. But ultimately, I think compared to last year, the League, of course, got a bit worse because Fnatic got worse. But the growth stronger. So I think if we stay on this path, then we're going to be an even stronger region in the future.
Now, talking about the strength of the region, I feel like when we're comparing the LEC to the LCS, we kind of have everyone beating everyone in the LEC, and all teams seems to be very much up in the air. But about the LCS, you still have the usuals at the top. What do you think causes this difference between the regions?
Just that NA recently only built up the whole amateur scene. That means the infrastructure was not there for talent. The academy was a joke for a long time. I think that's something that everybody saw, that nobody actually cared about it. And of course that the big teams have the best access to the big names and big coaches. Cloud9 now with Max Valdo, Mithi, have a really, really strong infrastructure and good voices in the team. So I'm gonna bet on them to be the first place team. Liquid though as well, good facilities, good players. I've seen Hanafi's TSM yesterday, so I'm not going to talk about that one. I think they released the cut after after TL and Cloud9. So I don't want to compare you though to LCS, and it's not about banter. I think they're so far behind in the overall league that I think it's worthless to compare ourselves there. We can compare Cloud9 to EU and TL. I think that's fair. But we want to be in a level where we can compare ourselves to LCK, because even though I say that I still, watching LCK, only think Damwon is a really good team. I think anybody else, like whatever. The whatever teams in the LCK are still like 10 times better than the whatever teams in the LEC, right? Which also means their practice is better. And so yeah, I think LCS is trying to catch up with the system. I think they are kind of starting to let trust rookies as well a bit more, which ultimately will be the future of the league. But the big dogs will always like splash money on the imports. That's just how it is. But one day maybe like a team of 2 American rookies is gonna pop off, and then suddenly the whole region shifts their attention. I wish that for them, because that's the only way they can catch up eventually.
Okay, now touching up on the rookie point, I would love to hear your opinion on what had been going on. I don't know what has been decided. I don't think anything has been decided yet. At least nothing has been made public. But the team seemed to be pushing for sort of a leeway with the import rule. They want to be able to bring more imports to NA. What do you think that would do to their ecosystem? Because to me, it seems like it would just dig the academy scene even deeper if there is no proper measure, right?
Yeah, I think it would just doom the region and the viewership, because ultimately, even right now with 10 teams, some teams don't even produce content. They don't care about the fans. They don't provide anything why you would follow the team. And if you fill the team up with, not to be rude, but nameless Koreans, because you get them from Soloki, right? It's people that you don't know.
Right.
Or Chinese people, then there's even less reasons for fans to be excited about you. You're going to be a good team. You might be LMQ, like in the past, where they had 5 Chinese players and they were a good team, but why would anybody want to follow them if you're an American fan? And ultimately, what we all do this for is sort of the excitement of the sport and for the fans, right? And I think just showing that anybody can become a pro is really important. And what needs to happen, and that was what happens in every sport, is just like a big success story. Like one time, and I has to win like an MSI or Worlds, because I think if you think back to any sport that grows in any country, it's mostly because suddenly there was like this one-off tournament where they suddenly won or got second place. Germany in handball, for example, is one that comes to mind, where after the World Championship where they won, the membership numbers rose completely, and since then handball is the second most popular sport in Germany. Of course, like the traditional sports are a bit different, but I think allowing more imports would just ultimately lead to every team fitting the same, because it's the same structure. There will have like 2 Koreans, 1 European, 1 Chinese maybe, and then maybe the token American.
Token American, which is support, crazy to think, right?
On support maybe, so on the role that doesn't matter too much. And
wait, now you're saying that this role doesn't matter too much, but that's not the narrative that I've been hearing.
Compared to jungle diff is supportive, probably. No, supportive is jungle diff, sorry.
Yeah, exactly.
That's more important. No, but yeah, I think every team will lose their face, basically, and it's going to be a battle of franchise players, but it's going to be like 10 Korean franchise players, and then fans are just going to stop caring. And then that will ultimately lead to the death of the viewership and then the death of the league. That's at least my opinion.
All right, that's fair. Moving on to this past weekend, I think it's become a meme, or at least a lot of people were talking about Reckless being on karma duty, and I want to hear from you, what was the thought process behind it?
The thought process was that it's good. Turns out it wasn't. Spoiler alert.
Sucks.
We had the same combo against Schalke with Seraphine, so basically having a AD mid that has priority early game and scales really well together with an Enchanter makes a comp, right? You have like a hyper carry threat basically that can't die in team fights, and I think game 1 has shown how it could go until we decided that it's a good idea to jump over 3 walls and then get killed and lose Nash. Because I think at this point we're 5k up, and if you repeat the play at Nash and if they come into us again, they die, we get Nash and we win the game. And then suddenly teams can't ban Seraphine anymore because we can't do the same thing with Karma. So it would just change the complete like way the draft works out. Because either they ban both, and hope that we don't have a third one, or that if Seraphine open, we get Seraphine, and then we have a different combo, or I have to ban Lucian Tristana every game. So it was a bit of a gamble. It's not even gamble. We literally thought it was good. We played it scrims, and it worked out really well. We are aware it's like really hard to execute because if Caps makes one mistake, the game is lost. That's what it was. But it's something we trust our players with. I think that's something you have to do if you want to be a top level. You can't just play for the safe comps all the time. And it's bit as in years, and it can happen. So we just thought this Enchanter style works well with those mid laners. We can adapt to it. We can play different drafts, but we just try to run it back to like, because we thought it's good, right? I hate the attitude of trying something in one draft in a best of 5 and then say, we lost, we don't do it again, because that just shows you weren't confident in it.
Committed.
Yeah. So after the second loss, then of course players were like, "Can we please play something else?" I'm like, "Yeah, sure, makes sense. Let's play normal comp." So yeah, I think we thought the car was good. It would have broken up the draft structure a bit for opponents, and they would have had way higher issues in draft. But it didn't work out. Maybe run it back one more time against Rogue, but that is to be seen.
Well, you do have a good record against them, so who knows?
Yeah. Of course, a different scenario, right? I think the good record started when they had like the worst teams. I think also many people thought it was going to be the final, basically, Rogue against G2.
I sure did.
I was one of them as well. So it's going to be a banger, and it's going to be really hard. And they haven't been too clean in the last best of 5s, but so haven't we. So it might also just become a fiesta, but that should suit us more than them. So I will try my hardest to like draft in a way where it's just clownery all over, and then I think we should win.
When we're talking about Rogue and G2, I feel like every other team in the league absolutely fears playing against you guys, and now you're facing against each other. And I have a feeling, I don't know if you guys' confidence level in both teams are the same as they were during the regular season, but I'm really curious to know what it takes to build such confidence in your players. I feel like for G2, you guys have been confident for a very long time, but maybe for them it's like something a little bit more new.
Yeah, I think that's something also rookies struggle with, because it's a way different ballpark if you are expected to win or not. Just the feeling of going on stage, if you know you're the underdog or people think you're winning, it's really hard. And I think that's also something that the players in Rogue struggled with in the first stage game, that suddenly they're there as the favorites and everybody knows Rogue is good. For us, I mean, we have a track record, right? We won 4 titles in a row, with last year having the same structure of not carrying too much during the regular season and then losing in an upper bracket and then improving for next week for lower bracket. So I think that's just the confidence we have because we've been there before. This is nothing new. For Reckless, it's a bit new, and he seemed a bit surprised, or like not worried. Like worried is the wrong word. But of course, he didn't have the same experiences we had, right? Like the other 4 wonder now, name change his account to know with a Warcraft free win, and played like 20 solo queue games yesterday. So they awoken a beast, and then like we've been there before, as I said, and for us it's just natural. And maybe in a week I look dumb because we lost 3-0 against Rogue, and then I take it, and then we will take the learnings and improve for summer and try to take it a bit seriously earlier. But for Rogue, again, it's a different scenario. They're hungry to win. The pressure can get to them, I feel like, especially if they come back to the onstage banter from Wonder. This is something that, if you're not prepared for it, will be in your head when you play a best of 5. But I'm very confident in them as well. The World Worlds, they took learnings from there. They already played in high pressure situations, so I'm really looking forward to playing them. I have much respect for them, and still looking though to play Matt on Sunday, hopefully.
That would be an absolute banger. Now, I do want to know your predictions for the weekend.
I think it's gonna be a 3-2 against Rogue for us, and then a 3-1 in the finals for us against Matt.
All right. I'll hold you accountable.
Okay, sure, go for it.
All right. Thank you so much, GrabbZ.
Thanks for having me.